Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name's Brandon. I'm a lifetime Seminole fan.
I am Chris, and I'm an appreciative Gator fan.
We are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. And, Chris, don't get to do this quite yet, but Florida State finally has another game I get to preview here on the show. But let's get started off by talking about the Florida Gators winning against Tennessee Volunteers. What were your impressions of this game as they walked away with a 31-19 victory?
I'm an appreciative Gator fan because we have, with this victory, clinched the East in the SEC. Now this means that we're going to face Alabama, and we'll talk about that later. But we won. We won the East. We beat Tennessee, and I know you know this. I know listeners know this, but I'm going to say it again. I do not like Tennessee. I just do not like Tennessee. So I don't care what Tennessee rolls out against, what Tennessee team rolls out against us. I want to beat them and beat them bad, and they robbed me of that by those garbage touchdowns at the end. But it was nice to see Florida win, and in a game where if you just look at the score, you're like, oh, it was a close game. If you watch the game, it really wasn't close. It was 31-7. When we started putting our backups in. And it's weird because I think our defense has taken the right steps. We were complaining about how awful they were earlier, and they're taking the right steps. But I think our offense really took a step back this game. And it's so weird and strange because if you watch the game, you saw our offense kind of sputter here and there. And Trask wasn't as precise as he has been. But then if you look at the stats, dude threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns with 0 picks. So it was a really odd game. And you could say this is probably just by the eye test, Trask's worst game. Even that A&M game, he wasn't the reason we lost that. He was on point. But he still put up over 400 yards passing. So we'll get into some negatives, but some positives that I really liked. Again, Kyle Pitts is just really dominant at that position. Over 100 yards again. Kadarius Toney, that guy's just you see Kyle and you forget that he's on there sometimes. Becoming a solid receiver. 8 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. Let's see, Jacob Copeland's having a good year. Trey Grimes got 2 touchdowns again. So we have a pretty good receiving corps. It's not just about Kyle Pitts. There's other guys on our offense that are making plays for us. So really the story is Kyle Trask and kind of his Heisman campaign, and what a great story he is. So that's what you're going to see. But they've got a lot of weapons around him. And the Gators handled their business on offense, although you say, 31 points, what are you complaining about? If you know that you can score 63, you can drop 50, and you should be doing that against a not good Tennessee team, Kentucky team, Vanderbilt team, and you're not doing that. You're kind of taking a step back, and so it's kind of concerning. Not going to lie, kind of concerning, but I'm not, panicking. Mullen, he always that's what they gave us, so that's what we're going to do. We're not really here to he's not really there to run up the score as much. He's like, okay, we have the game in hand. Let's just either run it out, or not so much this game, but just kind of manage the game to win. And it can kind of be frustrating sometimes. It really can be, knowing how good you can be. Also, you can't help it but see Alabama, what they're doing, at the same time, who's your eventual opponent in the championship game. But overall, I was pleased with the offense. Defensive side of the ball, like I said, they held them to 7 points when it mattered. They gave up some garbage touchdowns there, but they held them. Ventrell Miller, our linebacker, got the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. I think he had 12 tackles. He did a great job. I was very impressed with Trey Dean. Sean Davis, our starting safety, was out. I think we had another safety that was out too. So Trey Dean, a guy that's had some bumps and bruises, here at Florida, he steps in safety position, had a solid day. So overall, I was very pleased with the defense. 6 sacks. 6 sacks.
Yeah, I was going to point that out.
In this game.
Very good.
That was huge. I know, again, Tennessee's not known for their great offensive line this year. I know that. But 6 sacks is pretty good when we couldn't get any pressure on anybody. So I'll take it. I'm happy with it. So overall, good, not great. That's the story the last few weeks for us. Good, not great. But I think if you can roll into Knoxville with your B game and still win comfortably, that says something a lot about you. And good enough to win the East.
Yeah, I'll throw out a couple of thoughts here. I'll kind of roll everything into one. Positives, obviously, Trask going off for 400 yards. You mentioned the 6 sacks on defense. The thing that stood out to me, good or bad, and I'll let you weigh in on this, was 19 rushing yards. That was kind of, September, October-ish Florida. Now in November, you're like, oh, cool, they can rush for 100 yards if they want, and then it kind of regressed. Could have been that. I think it's either one of three things. Running backs couldn't get any pressure. A, Tennessee was scheming to stop the run. B, or Dan Mullen is trying to get Trask as many stats as possible. C.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of those. They're probably a little bit of mixture through all three, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was kind of going to bring that up later, but we can talk about it now. 19 rushing yards, not good. And your leading rusher was a receiver, Jacob Copeland, with 17 yards rushing.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not good. But Mullen was pressed on that this week in his press conferences, and he said, listen, they gave us the pass. We're not going to force it. We tried to run. It didn't go anywhere, so we didn't force it.
Yeah.
And I personally like it. I like that he's not being stubborn. I understand you have to at least rush every now and then to keep them honest, right? But if you rush on first down and get 1 yard, 0 yards, pass. You have Trask, Pitts, Tony, Grimes. Those are your playmakers. If you run on first down and you get like 4 yards, okay, run again on second down, see what you get. And they weren't getting anything. Maybe it was Tennessee's D-line or linebackers. Maybe. I think maybe there was something to that there. But I have noticed, though, that in general, our blocking has taken a step back. Pass and rush has just taken a step back these last few weeks here. But as far as the running game goes, you would have loved to seen some big hits and some explosive plays and deep runs, but they just weren't there. And Mullen was like, listen, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to be stubborn. So I have Kyle Trask in the backfield. I'm going to use him.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. It does look awful, and yes, I would absolutely love 100 yards rushing. But if we can, throw it 50 times and still win, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. It's very Big 12-esque, but
yeah,
that's who we are right now. Let's face it.
Yeah. Other than that, Tennessee did a good job of not allowing any special teams returns the entire night. They know how dangerous Tony can be.
Right.
And McPherson, I'm almost done with you. Don't miss any more kicks.
Yeah.
You and I are talking about that this week, and that's no go.
Very uncharacteristic, very much so, from him. We're fortunate that they're not crucial ones,
right?
So you kind of you can forgive him a little bit, because he can bomb it. The ones against A&M, he had a 50-yarder, in a back and forth nail biter. So He was clutched in. But these last few weeks, man, he'll have 3 attempts and miss one of them. So that's not good for a guy that is just solid. But maybe COVID's affecting him too. Maybe this weird season's affecting him too.
Yeah, and then I think he had that week off after you guys had a 2-week break. I don't know, but
yeah.
I didn't really have much else to add. What other things did you notice were opportunities or just neutral observations?
Yeah, I will say that it really bugs me that our second and third string goes in and gives up 2 touchdowns. And it just seems like I don't know. because you're an injury or a COVID away from them starting.
True.
And for them to not play hard and tackle hard, and I don't know, it's just kind of a little disappointing, really. Tennessee definitely doesn't just want 7 points on the board, so they're really trying hard. It seemed like our second string and third string was trying hard, so that was kind of a bummer. I get it. It's cold. They already won. They just want to go home. But I mean, you're showing the coaches that you want to play. Act like you want to play. You want more playing time. When you do, don't let them score 2 touchdowns. So that kind of bugs me a little bit.
Okay, that's fair actually. The backdoor action, the covering the spread late. That's always kind of annoying anyway.
yeah, and it just looks better. Like they, I think they. Oh yeah, so they Tennessee missed their extra point right at the very end there. So really, it should have been a 31-20. That's going to make it look even worse, you know. At that one point, it's just the eye test makes it look worse. So we were fortunate there. So yeah, it was just one of those weird games where like we kind of like were very sluggish the first quarter and a half, and then right before, and I know you've talked about Jimbo doing this a lot. Right before the end of the half, we score a touchdown. We get the ball back, score a touchdown, game's over, essentially, you know. And it was weird that drive, the first drive in the third quarter, it's like 5-6 plays, all passes, touchdown. And it was like it was so easy. But then on the flip side of that, we started on the Tennessee side of the field 3 times and got 0 points. So you're like, man, one of them was McPherson's missed field goal. But you're like, man, it's right there, you know. But that's uncharacteristic for us to just not score. And I think if I read this stat, or if I remember it correctly, this is the first time all year that we had back-to-back 3-and-outs.
Oh, wow.
And it's an impressive stat to go this long by doing that. But it's frustrating because you know you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
So, but I will take the win. I will take the East Championship. This is, you know, the right progression where you want to go. Now, you can say that McElwain also won the East twice, but you look at his teams; they're not this team.
And the East at the time, the East was so bad.
Yeah, you're right. The East was just pathetic.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember. I think the first time we won the East, like we had to barely beat Vandy at home to clinch it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how bad it was. So I'll take it. And yeah, we have LSU this week, and then just a monster that is Alabama the following week. But for right now, happy that the Gators beat Tennessee, one of my teams I hate the most. And then we get a win on the road. So I'm take it. Go Gators.
I'm just surprised that your hatred has lasted this long, because it was the 90s. This was a rivalry, but what did I see the stat on this? Like Tennessee's beaten you once in the last 20 seasons? I'm serious. Is that right?
No. We're 15-1 in the last 16 years.
That's crazy.
But I know, but like in my formative years when I was growing up, falling in love with the Gators, you had Florida State and Tennessee were right there.
Former just a bear to get over. Okay.
Yeah. So that's always going to stick. But on the flip side of that, during those times, we were pounding Georgia. So my hatred for Georgia is not as deep.
Interesting. Okay.
Although they are, you know, it's weird because if you ask any older than me Florida fans, they have a hatred for Georgia because they were, you know, big time rivals. They actually were winning games, and now they're winning games. So the younger than me and older than me hates Georgia more than I hate Georgia.
Okay.
But the older than that hates Miami because they played regularly. And
we got that in common.
Yeah, but if you ask like a younger Gator fan now, they're probably putting LSU and Alabama up there. And Alabama is kind of up there too, but the 2000s, the 90s, yeah, Tennessee, those teams. When I was young and fall in love with Florida, those are the ones that made me cry. You know, as a little kid. So yeah, my hatred goes so deep for Tennessee, and I want to see them lose every game.
Real quick thought, and then we'll move on. I was this is more for the community than for you, because I don't even remember this, but I was on a road trip where I was traveling up from Florida up to the Midwest. I said, "Hey, Chris," I just texting you to give some grief. I said, "Hey, I'm in the state of Tennessee." Your reply was, "The only stop you need to make in Tennessee is pull off, go to a restroom, and then continue on your way. Don't do anything else in that state." That's you. This was a long time ago. I don't even remember that, but that's
I don't remember.
It's totally true.
It sounds like me. Yeah. There's someone, I'm not gonna name names, but you know her well. Will send me random Tennessee pictures just to infuriate me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's up. Ooh, I don't like it.
But you got the win.
Yeah.
Moving on. That's it's actually a pretty good streak. When I looked at the series history, I didn't know that Florida was just flat out rolling over the Vols lately.
And only like 2 of them have been close. Maybe 3 of them.
Yeah, the Hail Mary one stands out. Other than that, I don't remember a whole lot of time in Tennessee.
Yeah, 2 years prior to that. There was 3 years in a row, I think it was. We had Antonio Callaway's, he scores like 4th down. He scores a long touchdown run. And then the Hail Mary, and then they beat us, and there's like 3-year stretch. But other than that 3-year stretch, it's been dominance, and I love it.
Cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I would too. Awesome. All right. So moving on to some other Florida teams. Florida State, again, off. We talked about this previously, so now 3 weeks in a row. Do you even remember the last game Florida State played, Chris? Serious question.
Oh.
I almost forgot. I had to look it up.
Hold up. Not Louisville. No, you know what? It was after Louisville. I'm drawing a blank, man.
We lost to NC State.
NC State.
November 14th. That was our last game.
Yeah, wow. We went through that too a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
You're like, just give me a game to remember.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, a lot's happened in the last month. We've had a lot of guys opt out, / declare for the draft, / take a COVID year, / left the team. So, we're left with some bare bones players. At one point, we were down to like 43 players total or something that could suit up. So, getting some guys back healthy, getting the rest they need, using some momentum from hey, we got early signing day coming up and we got some recruits coming in. That's really what FSU has to play for here. No bowl game in sight, but look forward to 2 more games you can take the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. Bring the revenue back, get a home game in.
Right.
So this will be a test. Hard to believe. Almost a year ago to the day, Norvell was hired. I can't imagine a crazier first season for a coach.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of a year to the day, you know what happened 20 years ago to the day that we're recording this episode?
Oof.
As a Noel fan, it sticks out.
December of 2000.
I saw it on social media just pop up.
Would that have been Winky winning the Heisman?
Yep.
Okay.
20 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here's a Florida tie-in. Who was number 2 in Heisman voting that year?
I know Drew Brees was up there.
He was around that time, I think.
Yeah, he was a finalist. Trying to think of the other guys that were.
He played for the team that we played in the national championship. And lost him.
Vic.
No. Good guess. That was the year before.
Oh, year before.
Yep.
Oh, played and lost. Who did y'all lose to? Huh. Oh, Heupel.
Yes, Josh Heupel.
Yes, yeah.
It was a very close race too.
Mm-hmm.
Now the head coach at UCF.
Yep.
He was inducted into the, I want to say, the College Football Hall of Fame last year as a player.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
Oh, good.
20 years. Oh, that's a good memory because not much to celebrate right now.
That's what I'm here for, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That was very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So on to other teams. FIU ends up not playing. I mean, I don't know why we continue to preview them.
Yeah,
They only got 5 games in this season, and technically don't have anything scheduled the rest of the year. But I also see technically they have 3 games that were postponed. So maybe they'll make one of those up in a week or two. Maybe they won't. They've had a lot of COVID issues this entire year.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're very hopeful, and this they may be done for the year.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've only played 5 games. I think they're 0-5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're selecting bowls, and it came down to a team that was like 4-0 and 5-0, and a team that was like 5-5, like, do who does he see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
do you go to the 5-0 team or the 5-5 team? I know you shrink the schedule and who'd you play and all the stuff. So I'm just saying hypothetical. That's going to be interesting things that they might have to the committee might have to to think about.
And we're about to talk about FAU in a second. That might be one of those teams because you're like, well, yeah, you had a winning record, but this other team had a 500 record and played more games, but it was tougher. Yeah, it's hard to say. I would think the way that they actually go. This is just a guess. They were considering COVID, who can travel the least amount,
right,
and get this in, because normally there's like banquets, parades, activities a whole week before that. I can't imagine they're going to do much of that. So that's a good question. I would tend to favor the teams that played a full season because you know a better range of what they are, but it may honestly just come down to money. It's like which sells more tickets going to do.
Yeah. It's really going to be sad is, say, someone accepts a bowl bid, and then like 2 days before the bowl, they can't play because of COVID.
Oh yeah, that's going to be
that. So so there might be a team that could have got that spot, but they can't go because this team went, but now this team can't go because of COVID. Yeah, it's just kind of
that will be very unfortunate. I hadn't even thought about that yet. But it's very possible we might see. We've already seen like 7 or 8 bowl games just canceled altogether.
Right.
So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah. For real.
So yes, back to Florida Atlantic. They lose.
I know.
The same way that they've beaten other teams. They only scored 3 points. They lost to Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
But only second loss on the year. So obviously they're still rolling, and they hadn't lost a game since almost Halloween. Right.
I was kind of shocked by this one, honestly. More so because it was 20-3. I just thought they were a little bit better than that. They were with Georgia Southern, and they gave a punt return for touchdown. That's kind of where it went down from there. I think that might be it for them, which stinks. Bad note to end on because you're doing so well the last few games.
Yep. Looks like they're going to try and squeeze in one more game with Southern Miss next week.
Okay.
We'll see if that happens, given their problems too.
Right.
All right. And then Miami Hurricanes were very mad coming out of the gate.
Yeah.
Destroyed Duke 48-0.
Hey.
Is this how bad Duke is, or is this how good Miami is?
Right. I don't know. That's a really good question. Duke is pretty bad, though. Yeah. Miami has these moments where they look like just one of the best teams in the country, but then they have games where they don't. And it might be because of who they're playing.
Yeah.
Because when they played a quality opponent, they got waxed. But kudos to them. They didn't mess around like Florida did. So this, like we said off air, this has to give you hope as a Florida State fan going up against Duke.
Yeah.
I know you probably, I don't know yet, but you're probably favored to win against Duke, but it might give you some hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to shut out a team. I don't care if it's Division II. I don't care if it's the worst team in the conference, which you could argue Duke is. But I think it's more of Duke's just slid this year. I mean, let's not forget Miami, their last 3 wins, 5 points, 3 points, 1 point before Duke. Yeah. So they've been in a lot of close games, and that was against Virginia, NC State, Va Tech.
Sure.
And they're going to face a really good UNC team coming this week. But, still to hold Duke the way they did,
Right.
Not that going on the road really matters too much, but when Duke only has 14 first downs in the day, it's pretty rough to get any points. So, and they turned the ball over 5 times. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, I'm just impressed that their backups didn't give 2 garbage touchdowns at the very end of the game.
You're not gonna let that go.
So, no, I'm not. It's like, I don't like Tennessee. But anyways, back to Miami.
Yeah, and that is it. Actually, UCF, South Florida are done for the year, so no more games there. UCF did. I take that back. UCF did accept the Boca Bowl invite, and they are likely going to play an ACC team, but they will get a bowl game. They're the first to accept a bid. Right. So right down near you. We'll see how that ends up shaping up.
Yeah, that's cool that they're playing a Power 5 conference. I really want to see how they match up against them.
Kind of surprised. Usually FAU gets that bowl game at home, so kind of surprised that it happened 1, but 2, I'm glad. I've never liked that a team gets a home bowl game.
Yeah. I mean, if you're an FAU fan who's been to that bowl, 3-4 years recently, right? You want to go. Sure. You can go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, wow, that's the end of the week. Mm-hmm. So why don't we fast forward a couple of days here? We're recording Wednesday night, so tomorrow night, let's just get this one out of the way. Florida Atlantic is traveling to Southern Miss. The Owls are favored by 8.5.
Yeah.
I'll just spoil it here. I'm gonna take the Owls. I think they bounce back. Again with the defense, but they're also playing a team that's 2-7. And
that's what
they're
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, their last performance was awful, but then I saw Southern Miss's record. I'm like, okay, never mind.
It should be fine. So
Owls.
Okay, Owls for you as well. Okay, so that one's gone. Saturday, 7:00. Ooh, night game. At least it's at home this time. Florida is hosting the LSU Tigers. Oh my lord! Favored by 23.5. LSU. We saw it go from bad to worse. It started collapsing week 1. But what are your thoughts on the game?
I'm very interested to see how Florida handles this game because 3 weeks now people have just been saying, "Oh, you're not playing up to your potential," and then now that you absolutely know Alabama's behind LSU, I really hope that they are focused on LSU. I mean, we're the better team. We should probably win. And we should win convincingly. But I don't know if we're going to win convincingly. I think, unfortunately, this game's probably going to play out like the last couple of weeks. And I'm really worried that Florida might have peaked with Georgia and Arkansas. Just overall. And it's funny because Mullen, almost every press conference says, you don't want to peak right now. You want to peak at the end of the year. Meanwhile, his team is going the opposite direction.
Interesting.
So maybe they're just not getting up for these games, and maybe they're saving it all for Alabama. I'm hoping. I don't know. But I'm a little bit concerned. But LSU it's a dumpster fire in their program right now. Players leaving. There's a lot of drama going on with them. They got, just absolutely waxed by Alabama, which Alabama does that to a lot of people. The spread is 23. I don't think Florida. I would say LSU covers. We're probably going to see. I'm interested to see if Mullen leans hard onto Trask and get some Heisman numbers, or he tries to run the ball more. I would assume he could run a little bit more. I would like to see some Emory Jones in there too. Put him in. He wasn't in the last game. He should have been, I think. I think Florida still wins. It's probably going to be closer than it should be, honestly. I'm going to go Florida 38-24.
Okay. 23 is a lot to cover. It really is.
Yeah.
And I think you're favored like 18 against Tennessee. And you had it till the 4th, but you just know people let off the gas and they kind of slow it up. And there were no turnovers against Tennessee. That was an interesting facet. Normally you get 1 or 2.
Right.
I think I feel safe taking LSU to cover here, but I don't see them scoring more than 17 or 20, given UF's defense. So I'll give them 20 just to benefit of the doubt. 31.
20, 31.
Same 31-20 Gators.
Okay. Yeah, I would expect a lot of backups in soon.
I feel like most of that's going to be looking ahead. I know you don't want to do that. I know technically he's going to say later in the press conferences, no, we weren't looking ahead. You got to focus on the opponent you're playing. Sure. Yeah. We wink. We know.
Yeah. Well, I know that it's interesting. Pull some college basketball into the conversation here.
Ooh.
I remember when one thing that stuck out to me when Florida was winning national championships in basketball. I remember Billy Donovan was being interviewed, and they were just like, what's it like having to coach during the tournament? Because you play a game, and if you win, in 2 days you have to play again, right? And then another week, right? So he was like, half the staff, the coaching staff, would focus on the team that we knew. And the other half, this coaching staff would look at the other teams that we could potentially play.
Interesting.
And I'm wondering if they're doing something like this right now. I think that you should, you 5 coaching staff, you just, next couple weeks, you just get a head start on Alabama for us. Everybody else focus on LSU.
Mm-hmm. So
when after LSU, hey, catch us up to speed and let's go with Alabama. And so I hope they're doing something like that because crazy stuff has happened, and I really don't want crazy stuff to happen to us this week. So I think, it's going to be closer than it should. Maybe going to feel uncomfortable. People are going to start chirping. That's fine. Florida wins. Not convincingly, comfortably, but not convincingly.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I mean, that Saban's been planning for this Florida game since August because he has a shadow staff and all these other guys in his game room. I used to be a head coach somewhere, didn't make it, and here I am,
right,
getting a big paycheck. So Charlie Strong's one of them. So I think you summed it up there. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And next, Chris, look at this, a Florida State game preview. Crazy.
Wow.
Let's just see if we actually get to do a recap next week.
Yeah, I know, for real.
Chances look good though.
For real.
Yeah. Here are some things playing Duke. I'm going to mention this because why not? We have never lost to Duke in football. We have had some close calls. 2008, I think we were only up 6-3, like in the third or something crazy. I think, was it 17 or 18? We only beat Duke by 7. And it's kind of funny. One of their best seasons ever was 2013. The year that we won the national championship. So that was the one chance they had to get us, and that's actually who we played in the ACC title game. But
how close was that game?
It wasn't. I think it was a game for like first quarter, and we ended up winning like 42-13 or something like that.
Gotcha.
They're usually in the Coastal, so we don't play them every year. But when there was no divisions, we played them every season.
Gotcha.
So I would have liked a streak like a Florida over Kentucky. Because it would have continued. Or like, those other ones that are historic, like Notre Dame over Navy or Nebraska beating Kansas. Florida State had a good chance to keep this one going for decades. And I think it'll continue here. Here's why I'm going to take the Noles to win.
Mm-hmm.
Our rushing offense, roughly we're going to get 160-ish to 200 yards. Depends on the opponent. Duke's rushing defense in the nation is 104th. Now, we don't pass the ball. That's not how we run the offense when Jordan Travis is in, who is pretty much the only guy we have left. Tate Rodemaker will probably make some appearances to get some reps. I would imagine 1 or 2 drives worth of snaps, something like that. What Florida State will give up is a lot of passing yards because we are about 115th in the nation, and Asante Samuel Jr. is now gone. Mm-hmm. So the passing defense is going to get even worse, if that's possible. We haven't been great stopping the run either, so I think they're going to look pretty good in the first half. Maybe into the third quarter, they're going to look like they can do pretty much whatever they want. this is a pretty even team. Both teams come in with 2 wins. Both of them had 1 win over a Division 2 school. So we have a better win with UNC. I think they beat Syracuse for their other one, who's probably last in the conference. It's going to be a dogfight. I never thought I would come in and see an FSU Duke game look like this. It is nuts, and the loser probably ties Syracuse for last place in the ACC this year.
Okay,
it's a sad day. Anyway, have to move on past that. Favored by 4. Give me the Noles by 1.
Okay.
This will look surprisingly close, like I said, because their offense will get to do more than they have this entire season. Probably playing one of the worst defenses they faced. 24-23. I have to put a lid on the mid.
Close to what I was.
The mid-20s. I really just can't see us scoring more than that. I have to put the lid there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the stats, I mean, they are so identical. Points per game are close. Points allowed, pretty much the same thing. Total yards allowed, very identical across the board. But I like the fact that Florida State has been resting, especially Jordan Travis. And like you said, Duke's not good at stopping the run. And not only do you have running backs, you have a quarterback that is a running back.
Yep.
So I'm going to go Florida State also at home. I'm going to go 24-20.
Okay.
The cover barely.
Yeah, right. That would be a push according to some books. We'll see where it ends up lining up.
Yeah.
4, it could move. Okay, So wow, how about that? Some things to watch here. Cutcliffe is the head coach at Duke. For everybody who doesn't follow Duke football, he was the same coach for Daniel Jones, who was the quarterback for the New York Giants. Same coach for Eli Manning of the New York Giants. Same head coach, offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning at Tennessee.
Right.
This guy has been around, and the NFL knows he develops NFL talented quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. This year hasn't panned out for him. Bryce, the quarterback, he was the backup at Clemson. In fact, he was the one that stepped in, I think it was last season, when Clemson was struggling against Syracuse, and Trevor Lawrence was out and had to finish that game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sounds right. And normally, Cutcliffe's teams are very disciplined, but they've been turning over the ball like crazy this year, and that's very uncharacteristic. They looked good in their very first game against Notre Dame, still lost, and they just haven't looked good since. I think they beat Western Kentucky or Carolina, something like that, and it's been a struggle. So they're just not playing up to their potential, and definitely not up to Cutcliffe standards. I can tell you that much. But yeah, I like the Noles, but barely.
Yeah, I don't know much about Duke. Everyone, including yourself, just says that they're awful. So, I mean, Florida State hasn't had a great season either, but I think the rest is really going to help. I know that they've lost some players, key players, but they're ready. I mean, you saw that Miami was waiting for a long time to play, and when they finally did, they showed it. Florida, same thing earlier in the year. So I think Florida State's going to bounce back, eager to get a victory, and they do.
I hope you're right, Chris. I love it. Yeah. All right. Let's see. FIU done for the year. If something comes up, we'll give you our thoughts on that. Miami, this is the biggest game of the weekend, is hosting North Carolina.
This is it's a tough one to call, man.
Yep. Winner finishes third in the ACC. Pretty decent bowl bid on the line, too.
Yeah, for real.
Maybe winner goes to the Orange Bowl kind of implication. Right. That's assuming Clemson and or Notre Dame go to the playoff.
Right. I mean, the one other, good team, quality team, whatever you want to call it, top team that Miami played, they got beat pretty bad. North Carolina, they're a pretty good team. A little inconsistent. I do like how their quarterback. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on this one, to be honest with you. It is in Miami, and I mean, how can easily turn it on, but then you can have a game like you did against Florida State. So, but Miami's defense is rolling right now. I think they're the reason that Miami gets the victory in this game.
Not so fast, my friend. I'm taking North Carolina.
Okay.
I don't have any faith for the Hurricanes to finish out a season. I like that they came out and they played well against Duke. That's
right.
Congratulations. Pat on the back. You didn't beat anyone good. UNC's been in some tough games, and man, you talk about peaking. Despite the fact that UNC lost to Notre Dame, they are peaking offensively, and they are going to put up 400 yards plus.
Sure.
Their running back tandem, Williams, and I forget the other guy's name. One and or both of them are in talks for the Doak Walker Award. They are just monsters.
Is it Carter?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Howell's having a better year. I've always said that UNC is a little oversold, but they've also kind of owned Miami or played them well every single year.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the Tar Heels.
Okay. This is a tough one, man. I mean, tomorrow I'll wake up and I probably want to see. But right now, I'm going to go Miami. Side note, Miami's busting out their all-black uniforms, which I think look pretty good. I mean, I do not like Miami, but credit where credit's due. I do like their all-black. And I think Florida State busted out all-black not too long, maybe 10 years ago now.
Those are
I think all-black looks pretty good. I like all-white as well. When you go when Florida does their all-orange, I'm like, it's a little bit too much orange. But white and black's pretty safe, I think.
Okay.
But it's still they can look good, but I hope they don't play good.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But should be interesting either way.
Yeah.
Man, that's it, man. That's season's winding down. It's getting down to it.
We're getting there.
Yes, we are.
Getting there.
Awesome. Okay, man. Well, that wraps up another week. Do me a favor if you're listening. Do not give us a 5-star rating on any podcast player of choice. But if they have feedback for us, Chris, how can they reach out to us?
FloridaFocusPodcast.com.
It's that easy.
Awesome. Yes. Simple.
Yeah.
Just think of what you're listening to. Just add a .com.
We're here to serve. That's how
exactly.
easy we make it. All right. I'm out of college football knowledge for the teams right now. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
I don't think so.
Yep.
I think we're good, man.
Yeah, we'll have some recaps, and we got some really big games coming up. So continue to stay tuned, and thank you all for listening to episode 100.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is 100th.
Yeah, hit the centennial mark. How about that? So here's to
now we can go
another
to syndication, right?
Yeah, we'll sell the rights, and here's to another 100. We'll see in 3 seasons or whenever we hit that mark. So, Thanks as always to the fans. This is Brandon Singlenals.
It's Chris. Go Gators.